listen, this ain't just another year coming to an end. This is your test. This is where your mindset, your habits, and your heart collide to reveal who you really are. See, how you finish this year isn't about the calendar. It's about your character. Most people start strong, but very few finish strong. They get tired. They get distracted. They tell themselves, next year I'll do better. But I'm here to tell you, there's no next year without today's grind. Right now, while everybody's relaxing, scrolling, and sleeping on their potential, you have the chance to separate yourself from the pack. You have the chance to take every ounce of energy, every drop of focus, and pour it into these last months like your future depends on it. Because it does. The way you close 2025 will write the opening chapter of your 2026. You can't walk into the new year with old habits and expect a new life. You can't pray for growth while holding on to comfort. This is the season where discipline replaces desire, where consistency replaces excuses, and where you decide how your story ends. Don't just survive this year. Dominate it. Don't just talk about goals. Execute them. You owe it to your future self to finish like a champion. Because when the clock strikes midnight on December 31st, you'll either have results or regrets. And that choice is being made right now. Momentum is not something that just falls into your lap. It's something you build when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when no one's posting about you. It's the invisible force that comes from doing the right thing over and over again, even when it doesn't feel like it's working. See, some people want results without rhythm. They want success without structure. But the truth is, momentum is the reward for consistency. It's the outcome of persistence when patience runs thin. You can't pray for progress and then sit still. Faith without works is dead. When David picked up that stone to face Goliath, he didn't get his courage that day. He built it long before the battle. Out there in the fields, tending sheep, fighting lions and bears, he was building momentum. Every challenge prepared him for the next one. That's what life is about. Every time you get knocked down and choose to rise again, you're adding speed to your spirit. You're training your soul for the next victory. Momentum is spiritual. It's God rewarding obedience in motion. But too many people stop moving because they don't see immediate progress. They let frustration freeze their faith. They let comfort cancel their calling. You can't stop just because the fruit isn't showing yet. A farmer doesn't walk away from the field just because the seed hasn't sprouted in 3 days. He knows growth is happening underground. You've got to trust your grind like that. You've got to keep showing up even when the applause is silent. That's when momentum is being born. In the quiet hours of discipline, in the lonely places of obedience. And here's the truth. You can't borrow someone else's momentum. You can't ride someone else's wave forever. You've got to create your own wind. You can watch all the motivational videos, read every success book, but until you get up and put your own hands on the plow, nothing moves. God gave you the ability to move mountains, but you got to push. The Spirit won't move what you won't touch. Some of you are waiting for motivation to come. But momentum doesn't come to the waiting. It comes to the walking. When you walk by faith, not by sight, God starts adding velocity to your vision. You ever notice how hard it is to push a car that's not moving? It takes strength just to get it to roll an inch. But once it's rolling, once momentum kicks in, it takes less effort to keep it going. That's law. Getting started is the hardest part, but once you do, heaven starts multiplying your motion. God bless his movement. When Peter stepped out of the boat, that's when the water held him. Not before, not while he was talking about it, but the moment he moved, the miracle manifested. Momentum is divine confirmation that you're walking in alignment. Some people pray for breakthroughs, but they won't break their routines. They ask for blessings while repeating the same behaviors. Listen, you can't have a new season with old systems. If you want to go from average to extraordinary, you've got to create momentum through action, through sacrifice, through relentless focus. The world doesn't owe you energy. You have to generate it. You've got to wake up each morning and say, I will not wait for the world to change. I will change my world. Momentum isn't built on big wins. It's built on small victories. Waking up earlier, saying no to distractions, finishing where you started. Each one of those moments compounds. Sir, each one of those moments compounds. They stack like bricks. And soon, you've built a wall of resilience that nothing can tear down. Every time you do the right thing when it's inconvenient, you're adding to your spiritual speed. That's why you can't despise small beginnings, because small beginnings create unstoppable momentum. When God created the world, he didn't do it all in one day. He built it step by step, day by day. That's divine order, creation through process. You've got to respect the process. Too many people want to skip the step, but it's the steps that give you strength. You can't sprint without first learning to stand. You can't lead until you've learned to follow. You can't inspire until you've endured. The grind is where God shapes your momentum. And don't misunderstand, momentum doesn't mean you won't face resistance. In fact, the more momentum you gain, the more opposition you'll attract. That's the enemy's signal that you're becoming dangerous to your past. Every time you start gaining speed, distractions will show up dressed as opportunities. Doubt will whisper that you've done enough. But remember, momentum breaks chains. That's why resistance comes. The enemy fears consistency more than talent, because consistency transforms ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. So when life gets heavy, when progress feels slow, don't stop. Keep pressing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Because momentum doesn't just carry you forward, it carries your faith forward. And when faith gains momentum, miracles follow. The same God who began a good work in you will bring it to completion, but only if you keep moving. Don't let fatigue make decisions your future has to live with. You might be tired, but you're not finished. You might be weary, but you're still called. This is the season to build, to move, to accelerate. You're not waiting on next year. Next year is waiting on new movement. Momentum is your ministry right now. Every step, every struggle, every prayer in motion is proof that you refuse to settle. Keep your hands on the plow. Keep your eyes on the promise. And watch what happens when your movement meets his mercy. Discipline is not a word. It's a lifestyle, a covenant between your purpose and your potential. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the transformers. Everybody wants success until they realize it demands sacrifice. Everybody loves the idea of greatness until they meet the grind that guards it. Discipline is the gatekeeper of destiny. It decides who enters and who stays behind. You can't pray for success and live lazy. You can't ask for transformation and keep your old habits. God will bless you, but he won't babysit your comfort zone. When Daniel was taken to Babylon, surrounded by luxury and compromise, he didn't fold under pressure. He stood firm and disciplined. He refused the king's food, not because it looked bad, but because it violated his standard. That's discipline. Doing honors your purpose even when what's offered looks good to your flesh. You have to understand, discipline isn't about deprivation. It's about preparation. Every you say the distraction is a yes to destiny. Every time you resist temptation, you're training your spirit to handle elevation. Discipline doesn't show up when you feel motivated. It shows up when you're exhausted, when you've been overlooked, when no one's clapping, when you feel like quitting. It whispers to get up anyway. It pushes you when emotions fade. Motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you going when the fire burns low. Too many people quit because they confuse excitement with endurance. Discipline doesn't care about feelings. It cares about faithfulness. It cares about faithfulness. That's why Paul said, I discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. Let me tell you, discipline is warfare. It's not glamorous. It's waking up early when your bed is warm and your dream is cold. It's saying no to comfort so you can say yes to calling. It's choosing to study when your mind says scroll. It's fasting when your flesh screams, feed me. Discipline is the daily death of excuses. Every time you conquer your impulses, you are declaring war on the version of you that wants to stay average. You see, God doesn't bless who you pretend to be. He blesses who you prepare to be. Discipline is preparation in motion. You can't expect divine promotion without human participation. People pray for opportunities they aren't disciplined enough to sustain. If God gave you the breakthrough you're asking for, could you handle it? Could you manage the pressure, the platform, the critics, the responsibility? Discipline ensures that when the blessing comes, you don't crumble under the weight of it. Think about Joseph. Before he wore the robe of royalty, he wore the chains of slavery. Before he managed Egypt, he managed his attitude in prison. His discipline didn't just open doors. It built character strong enough to stay in the room once those doors opened. Some of you want a palace but can't handle the process. You're praying for overflow but ignoring obedience. You can't microwave maturity. Discipline takes time, pain, and patience. But if you endure it, it will produce something greater than success. It will produce strength. And here's the truth. Discipline is not punishment. It's protection. It protects you from becoming your own downfall. It keeps your emotions in check, your focus sharp, your purpose alive. You can't be led by feelings if you want to lead in faith. Feelings fluctuate. Discipline anchors. Feelings change. Discipline remains. The enemy doesn't have to destroy you if he can distract you. And every time you skip discipline, you feed the very distractions that delay your destiny. Sometimes God hides blessings inside discipline to see if you'll obey without applause. When you fast, pray, study, work, serve, and no one notices, he notices. Heaven takes attendance when you're consistent. That's why Jesus said, when you pray in secret, your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Discipline is the secret place that births public favor. Don't chase visibility, chase obedience. Discipline also means stewardship, managing what you already have before you ask for more. Some people want God to enlarge their territory, but can't even maintain their schedule. You want abundance, but you waste time. You want promotion, but you resist process. You want victory, but you avoid battles. Discipline says, I will master what I have so God can trust me with more. The truth is, increase doesn't come by asking, it comes by alignment. God rewards order. You don't need another motivational quote. You need consistent habits. Waking up early, praying daily, planning intentionally, working diligently. These are not small things. They are seed. And when planted consistently, they grow into unstoppable force. Discipline transforms routines into results, patterns into power. It's not what you do occasionally that changes your life. It's what you do consistently that redefines it. Some people keep saying, I'll start next month. I'll change next season. But discipline doesn't wait for perfect timing. It creates it. You're not running out of time. You're running out of excuses. The longer you delay discipline, the deeper you drift from destiny. You can't finish 2025 strong if you keep giving weak effort. You've got to decide right now. No more halfway, no more almost. I'm going all in. Discipline is divine order dressed in human effort. It's the difference between talking about change and becoming the change. The road to transformation isn't built with emotion. It's built with execution. Every step of discipline brings you closer to dominion. And once you develop it, nothing can take it from you. Not fear, not failure, not failure. Because discipline doesn't depend on the moment. It defines it. So today, make a fit, not just to dream, but to do. Not just to hope, but to work. Because the same God who called you to the vision will equip you for the victory, but only if you're disciplined enough to stay the course. The harvest doesn't come to the hopeful, it comes to the faithful. And faith without discipline is just another broken promise to your potential. Excellence isn't a skill you learn, it's a standard you live by. It's not what you do when people are watching, it's who you are when nobody's paying attention. The spirit of excellence separates the average from the anointed. God didn't create you to blend in. He created you to stand out, to reflect his greatness in every area of your life. That's why scripture says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for men. Excellence isn't optional for a believer. It's obedience. You see, most people want promotion without preparation, recognition without responsibility, and results without refinement. But excellence demands you give your best when no one's clapping. It requires that you take what's ordinary and turn it into something extraordinary because you refuse to settle. Excellence doesn't start in the spotlight. It starts in the shadows. David didn't become a king when he sat on the throne. He became a king when he was faithful with sheep. Before Goliath ever fell, David had already mastered the discipline of doing small things with great care. That's what excellence looks like. Faithfulness in the field before favor in the palace. You can't ask God for elevation while tolerating mediocrity in your habits. You can't pray for open doors and still give halfway effort. If you want divine favor, you must first develop divine focus. Excellence is consistency powered by conviction. It's waking up early, not because you have to, but because you're called to. It's reviewing your goals, refining your craft, and renewing your mind, even when results are delayed. Too many people quit because they confuse lack of applause with lack of progress. But excellence knows the difference. Excellence says, even if they don't see me, I will still show up. Even if they don't thank me, I will still serve. Even if they don't reward me, I will still give my all. Let me tell you, excellence is costly. It requires more than talent. It demands character, courage, and consistency. It asks you to go the extra mile when others stop at the first. Jesus didn't stop halfway to the cross. He carried it all the way to Calvary. That's excellence. He finished what he started. He didn't let pain interrupt purpose. So if you call yourself a believer, you have no excuse to give half-hearted effort. You're called to represent the kingdom, and mediocrity doesn't represent heaven well. When you operate in excellence, you honor God. You show him that you value what he's placed in your hands. Whether it's your job, your family, your education, or your business, do it like it matters, because it does, it does. Excellence is not perfection. It's persistent striving to give your best while trusting God with the rest. It's about progress that glorifies, not performance that impresses. When people see excellence, they see the reflection of God's order. They see light in a dark world. You can't talk about destiny and walk in disorder. You can't pray for harvest and plant laziness. The Bible says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Excellence demands stability, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. It's not being great one day and careless the next. It's maintaining the same standard even when circumstances shift. If your effort changes based on who's watching, that's not excellence, that's ego. But when your excellence is rooted in purpose, it becomes unshakable. The problem with most people is they've learned how to perform, but not how to persevere. They know how to look excellent for a moment, but they haven't learned how to live excellent for a lifetime. Real excellence isn't about appearances. It's about authenticity. It's about being the same person on Sunday morning as you were on Monday afternoon. It's not putting on a show. It's putting in the work. That's why Jesus said, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify them in heaven. Notice, he didn't say, let your words shine. He said, let your works shine. Excellence speaks louder than talk. If you want to change your life, raise your standards. Stop asking for a new season when you haven't mastered the one you're in. You can't carry yesterday's habits into tomorrow's breakthrough. Excellence requires pruning. God will cut off the parts of you that can't carry his promise. He'll strip away laziness, fear, excuses, because excellence and excuses can't live in the same heart. When you walk in excellence, you stop blaming others and start building yourself. Excellence is not about competition. It's about contribution. It's about contribution. It's saying, I'm going to give this world the best version of me because God deserves nothing less. It's about maximizing every gift, every moment, every opportunity. When you operate in excellence, you stop chasing validation because you already have confirmation from God. You understand that your value isn't determined by applause, it's determined by assignment. And understand this, excellence isn't a one-time event, it's a daily decision. It's getting up when you'd rather sleep in. It's reading when you'd rather scroll. It's forgiving when you'd rather hold a grudge. It's showing up, standing firm, and staying faithful when quitting feels easier. That's what builds greatness. That's what builds legacy. Every act of excellence is a seed, and sooner or later, God will make it grow. Excellence doesn't promise instant results. It promises eternal rewards. You may not see the fruit right away, but heaven sees the effort. God is watching how you handle this season to decide how he'll bless your next one. The question is, are you doing it with excellence, or are you just doing it to get by? Because how you finish this year will determine how you step into the next one. And if you sow excellence now, you'll reap favor later. The grind may not be glamorous, but it's glorious when it's done for God. So don't let fatigue kill your fire. Don't let comfort silence your calling. Keep giving your best, because excellence today builds elevation tomorrow. The journey is not over yet. Discipline outlasts motivation. Motivation can light a spark, but discipline keeps the fire burning when the wind starts to blow. Motivation feels good, but discipline builds greatness. The problem with most people is they chase feelings instead of foundations. They want to feel ready. They want to feel inspired. They want to feel energized. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline says, I don't need permission from my emotions to show up. Discipline is when your purpose commands your behavior, not your feelings. Motivation might get you out of bed one morning, but discipline gets you out every morning. Discipline doesn't need the crowd. Discipline doesn't need the applause. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect mood. It acts out of mission. That's why the Bible says, he who is faithful in little will be faithful in much. Faithfulness is discipline in action. It's doing what needs to be done, even when no one is watching, even when no one is clapping, even when it's uncomfortable. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it until it's finished. You can't build your destiny on emotion. Emotion will betray you. Emotion will tell you to quit when you're tired, to rest when you should be running, to give up when you're close to the finish line. But discipline whispers louder than doubt. Discipline says, you've come too far to go back now. The Israelites didn't walk around Jericho because it was easy. They walked because God said so. 7 times around the wall, even when nothing seemed to change. That's discipline. Doing the work even when the results aren't visible yet. Believing that obedience produces outcomes long before evidence appears. Motivation fades, but discipline transforms. You can't rely on hype. You need habits. The world rewards consistency, not excitement. Success doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to the most consistent. Discipline is quiet. Discipline doesn't post everything online. Discipline doesn't need validation. Discipline happens in the dark, where character is forged, where nobody sees the sacrifices you make, the tears you cry, the temptations you resist. That's where champions are built. If you look at every great person who's ever walked this earth, their greatness wasn't built on moments of inspiration. It was built on patterns of discipline. Jesus didn't wake up one day and suddenly decide to fulfill his mission. He lived disciplined every day of his life. Prayer, fasting, obedience, he practiced them daily. Even when he faced the cross, his discipline carried him through what his feelings could. That's why he said, and not my will, but yours be done. That's the purest form of discipline, surrendering your will for something greater than your comfort. The truth is, many people want success, but they don't want structure. They want the crown, but they don't want the cross. They want the reward, but not the routine. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not loud. It's not loud. It's not fun, but it's necessary. The same way a seed must die before it grows. Your comfort must die before your calling can live. Discipline kills comfort so purpose can rise. Discipline is what teaches you how to move when your feelings freeze. Every athlete who wins doesn't win on game day. They win in practice. The hours nobody sees, the drills nobody claps for, the pain nobody acknowledges. By the time they step into the spotlight, the work is already done. The victory was secured in private long before it was celebrated in public. The same is true for your life. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your discipline. You can't expect to dominate in 2026 if you're still living by feelings in 2025. Stop saying you're waiting for the right moment. The right moment is now. Stop saying you need motivation. Stop saying you need motivation. You don't need more motivation. You need more consistency. You need to stop negotiating with your future. Stop talking yourself out of what God has already called you to do. Every day you delay is a day you lose momentum. Discipline says, I'll no longer procrastinate on my purpose. Let me tell you something powerful. Discipline isn't punishment, it's protection. It protects you from wasting your potential. It guards your future from being stolen by distractions. It shields your dreams from destruction. God gives you discipline as a weapon to fight your weaker self. That's why Paul said, I discipline my body and make it my slave so that after preaching to others, I myself will not be disqualified. He understood something most people never learn. Without discipline, desire becomes dangerous. You've got to get to the point where you stop living off of emotion and start living off of execution. Discipline is about doing it even when it's not convenient. It's about showing up when you don't want it. It's about saying no when everything in you wants to say yes to temptation, to temptation, to temptation. Discipline is the bridge between intentions and impact. Without it, dreams die in delay. And listen to me, the moment you master discipline, you become unstoppable. Because the world can't predict a person who moves with consistency. You stop waiting on feelings and start walking in faith. So you stop needing hype and start building habits. You stop saying, I'll try, and start declaring, I will. That's when everything shifts. Because once you choose discipline, you no longer need to chase motivation. Motivation starts chasing you. The blessings begin to follow the order you built. So don't look for the shortcut. Don't pray for it to get easier. Pray for the strength to stay disciplined. Because the reward doesn't come to the one who started. It comes to the one who stayed. The ones who endured. The ones who finished the lap when others sat down. The ones who did it tired, did it afraid, did it when they didn't feel like it, but did it anyway. That's discipline. That's how legacies are built. That's how champions rise. You can't control your feelings, but you can command your focus. You can't stop every distraction, but you can refuse to be moved by it. That's discipline. And discipline will carry you farther than talent, farther than luck, farther than motivation ever could. Because discipline doesn't just change your day, it changes your destiny. The message isn't finished yet. You can't expect to walk into your next season carrying the same mindset that broke you in this one. You can't expect a harvest if you never plowed the field. God doesn't reward comfort, He rewards consistency. The problem with too many of us is that we want the reward of faith without the responsibility of faith. We pray for blessings but refuse to build discipline. We want elevation but keep holding on to habits. Keep us low. The truth is, how you finish this year will tell heaven whether you're ready for the next level or not. Because before God promotes you, He proves you. Before He multiplies you, He measures your faithfulness in the small things. You want 2026 to be your breakthrough year? Then finish 2025 like a warrior, not a wanderer. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop saying, oh, when the new year comes, I'll start fresh. No, start now. The same God who can open doors in January is the same God who's watching your discipline in October, your grind in November, your commitment in December. He's not looking for talkers. He's looking for finishers. Because the finishers are the ones who carry the fire, who show that faith is more than a feeling. It's a fight. Remember what Paul said. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I've kept the faith. Notice that he didn't say I started the race. He said I finished. Starting is easy. Starting is exciting. But finishing, that's where character is built. Finishing requires you to keep moving when you're tired, to believe when the evidence doesn't support your faith, to stay focused when everything in your life is screaming, quit. And if you can't finish the small assignments, how can you expect God to trust you with greater ones? The reward is in the completion. The blessing is in the obedience. Some of you need to understand that finishing strong isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. You might have stumbled, but don't you dare stay down. The enemy wants you to think it's too late, that you've wasted too much time, that your mistakes have disqualified you. But I came to tell you today, as long as you've got breath in your body, it's not over. Oh, the same God who began a good work in you is faithful to complete it. He didn't bring you this far to leave you halfway. He didn't give you a dream just to watch it die in December. But you have to rise up. You have to shake off the dust. You have to finish what He started in you. See, there's a difference between intention and execution. Everybody has intention. Everybody says, I'm gonna do better. But very few people follow through when the excitement wears off. Faith without works is dead, and dreams without discipline are just fantasies. If you want to walk into 2026 with peace, power, and purpose, then finish 2025 with prayer, passion, and perseverance. You can't coast your way into greatness. You've got to grind your way there. You've got to dig deep. You've got to stop making excuses and start making progress. The truth is, the finish line always looks farther when you're close to it. The enemy will attack hardest right before your breakthrough. The pressure increases when you're almost at the promise. But don't confuse pressure with punishment. Sometimes pressure is proof that you're about to deliver something great. Like a diamond, your shine is born out of struggle. Like gold, your purity is revealed in the fire. So don't run from the process. Embrace it. God is shaping you for something greater, but He needs to know you won't fold when it gets hard. Every step you take in these final days of 2025 matters. Every morning you wake up and choose focus over feeling. You're building momentum. Every night you go to bed knowing you gave your all. You're setting the tone for your next season. Heaven is watching how you finish this chapter. Don't you dare slow down now. Don't you dare let fatigue steal your future. You've come too far to quit. You prayed too hard to turn back. You fought too long to settle for average. So finish this year like your life depends on. Because it does. Finish like you're proving something to the version of yourself that wanted to give up. Finish like you're showing your children what perseverance looks like. Finish like you're telling the devil, you should have stopped me when I was weak, because now I'm walking with fire in my spirit. When you finish 2025 with focus, faith, and ferocity, you won't have to chase blessings in 2026. They'll start chasing you because God rewards the finisher. The one who didn't give up, the one who kept believing, the one who kept moving forward even when nobody was clapping. And if you can finish strong, then next year won't just be another calendar, it'll be confirmation. Proof that you didn't just talk about change, you became it. Proof that your faith didn't die in the middle of the storm, but grew stronger in the struggle. Proof that you were built for more. And 2026 will have no choice but to make room for the greatness God placed inside you. You don't step into a new year waiting for change. You walk into it already changed. The shift doesn't happen when the clock strikes midnight. It happens when your mindset does. Too many people are waiting for January 1st to start living with discipline, to start believing again, to start moving like they've got a purpose. But let me tell you something. Transformation doesn't respond to time. It responds to decision. You can't bring an old mentality into a new miracle. You can't step into 2026 with the same excuses that kept you stuck in 2025. The future belongs to those who have already made up their minds that the next version of them starts right now. When Jesus called the disciples, he didn't say, follow me when it's convenient. He didn't say, wait until you feel ready. He said, follow me now. And they dropped their nets immediately. That's the kind of urgency God is asking from you. You've been carrying old habits, old fears, old relationships, old patterns. Don't fit the destiny he's trying to place on your life's You're holding on to what was while praying for what's next. But you can't walk into the promised land if you're still chained to Egypt. You can't ask God to pour new wine into an old wineskin. Something has to shift. Something has to die for something greater to be born. The truth is, every new level of your life will demand a new version of you. And that version won't show up by accident. It's forged through intentional growth, through prayer, through sacrifice, through obedience. You can't just wish your way into greatness. You have to work your way into alignment. God isn't waiting on your talent. He's waiting on your transformation. Because talent without transformation leads to destruction. Look at Saul. He had position, he had authority, but he didn't have obedience. And when pride took root, he lost everything. But David wasn't perfect, but he had a heart after God. He messed up, but he got back up. He stayed humble. He stayed humble. He stayed teachable. And because of that, God elevated him. You've got to ask yourself, which one are you becoming? Are you building a crown around your comfort, or are you developing a calling through your character? You say you want 2026 to be your best year. Start pruning. Start letting go of what doesn't produce fruit. Jesus said every branch that bears no fruit, the Father cuts away. That means if you're serious about growth, there will be a cutting season. Some friendships won't make it. Some habits will have to die. Some places will no longer feel comfortable. But it's not punishment, it's preparation. God removes what limits you so he can reveal what's within you. And don't expect everyone to understand your transformation. When Joseph started dreaming, his brothers hated him. When Noah started building, they mocked him. When Nehemiah started rebuilding, they plotted against him. Transformation always offends stagnation, always offends stagnation. The people who are comfortable where they are will always resist the one who's growing. But you can't let their disbelief make you doubt your destiny. You weren't built to fit in. You were called to stand out. You weren't chosen for popularity. You were chosen for popularity. You were chosen for purpose. And that purpose requires you to evolve. You see, real transformation doesn't happen in public. It happens in private. It's in the early mornings when no one sees you grinding. It's in the late nights when you're praying, fasting, and seeking direction. It's in the silent battles you fight when the world thinks you're fine. That's where the new version of you is born. You can't post transformation. You prove it through consistency. The new you isn't revealed through words. It's revealed through walk. And hear me, God can't bless the version of you that's pretending. He only blesses authenticity. He's not impressed with your performance. He's after your heart. Stop trying to look powerful and start becoming powerful. Stop chasing motivation and start developing discipline. Because when your heart changes, your habits will follow. When your mind renews, your actions will align. When your spirit awakens, your vision becomes clear. Romans 12:12 says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That means transformation isn't a one-time event. It's a daily surrender. Every morning you wake up and choose growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, obedience over opinion. You've been asking for breakthrough, but God's been asking for surrender. You've been waiting for doors to open, but God's been waiting for your heart to open. He wants to take you higher, but you're still clinging to what he asked you to let go of. You can't soar like an eagle while nesting with chickens. You can't walk in divine destiny while entertaining old distractions. You've got to make the decision today, not tomorrow, that the version of you stepping into 2026 will not look like the one finished in 2025. This is your moment to evolve, to rise, to transform. The new you isn't coming. It's already inside of you waiting for permission to come out. Stop saying a someday and start saying it now. Stop talking about the life you want and start living like it's already yours. Because faith without works is dead, and destiny without discipline is delayed. If you can change your mindset before the calendar changes, you won't just enter 2026, you'll dominate it. God's already written the victory. The question is, will you become the version of yourself that can receive it?